So today we're product testing, and this time around what we've decided to do is we've spent some time on a dyno. The product that we're testing is the Boyesen Reed block. So on the 150 we replaced the stock reeds for the Boyesen Reeds, which was pretty simple to do, to be honest. It wasn't too much hard work. The standard reed block, there's a few screws in there that you have to undo to remove the stock reeds and replace them with the Boyesen ones. That's probably more time consuming in itself than it is actually taking the reed block off. But yeah, once you get there, it's good, and we've seen some improvements on the dyno, which we'll report back to you on a little bit more when we go hit the track. When you go to the dyno and you're dyno testing, it's never straightforward. You're not just putting the bike onto the dyno and just running it up and then basically replacing the product. It's a little bit more in depth. You've got to make sure that you've got the chain's good, the chain's oiled. Also as well, that you've got to make sure that you've got the right pressure in your dyno tyre, and that all stays consistent. Also as well, airflow into a dyno room, that's quite important, and the evacuation of the fumes as well. And then also as well, it all depends on how you bring the bike in on the dyno runs. So for instance, we brought the bike in at 3,000 RPM and then maxed out the power and then followed that process again. Then what you do is you change your product. Make sure that there's not much, it's not the next day, or, we like to do things, if possible, on the same day, within a short period of time, and then it's a fair test. So, and then what we do is we do another 3 runs with the product. We pick the average from that one, and we back-to-back it with the average against, let's say, the stock bike with a Boyesen Reed block. So on the KTM 150, when we replaced the stock reeds for the Boyesen Reeds, what we found was that when the bike was getting dynoed, the dyno run seemed to be more consistent, and it was easier for the person who was dynoing the bike, in this case Notty, to produce more consistent runs. So when he started and when he let the bike die down, and when he picked it back up at 3,000 RPM, the bike actually felt like it picked up a little bit better, and Notty, our dyno tester, he could feel that it was just a little bit easier to get them consistent runs. Whereas he previously, he had to concentrate a little bit harder to get the 3 runs, as equal as they can be. And they were just a little bit easier with the Boyesen Reeds in. So that'll be interesting to test out on the track. So hopefully it's something that I can feel. As for the rest, mid-range we didn't really have any gains. Top end, there was probably a slight little gains there, but nothing really, nothing really to shout about. But that's why we're interested to go and, to go out on track and to test this product. So after the dyno, we come straight to the track and tested out the reeds and see what the benefits were on track. And we're happy to say that when you put the reeds in the bike and from stock, that you've got a better connection. Which when you ride a 2-stroke, that's what a 2-stroke's all about. You need that connection. You need it to be on the pipe. So the instant response is highly welcomed as far as I'm concerned, because if you've got a good response to a good responsive 2-stroke, then some might say, oh, it's a bit scary or it gets out of control. But for me, I like that, and most people do, because it's running efficient. So, and when I say efficient, that means that when you come around out of the turns, you don't have to pick it up off the clutch. You can basically hit the throttle and the thing will pick up and take off, which is what you want. So if it's not running efficient, then what happens is that you'll get a lag, you get a burble, and then when it clears, that hit, it's that hit that you can't control, and then people get lost between what's rideable and what's unrideable. Well, I'm happy to say that once we put the Boyesen Reeds in, over stock, there was a slight improvement, and that improvement was the connection and was from bottom. I wouldn't say that from mid to top that you could feel a loads different. I'd say that you could rev a little bit longer, that's for certain. But when I say revving, that you're out the power, so that really doesn't count. But sometimes when you're riding a 2-stroke, you have to let the thing sing, and that did sing a little bit more, to be honest. I'm happy with my KTM 150 at the moment. Yeah, we've got the Boyesen Reeds in there. I haven't got the Boyesen Rad block. Maybe that's the next thing that we'll try, and go for the full block, see what happens there. But do you know what? At the moment, the bike's singing, and I'm sure that you can hear that out there. Look, I'm just smiling. Happy days.